If they're getting this to the banks right now, and this, by the way, this is to the companies that process MasterCard and Visa. How many people in here trade on eBay? eBay is going to start giving 1099s, by the way, to people that receive money. Does that tell you anything? They're doing what they can to find where money's at in the people out here as such. What's real estate going to do? If there's no loans from the banks, it's going to go farther down. I don't know, I used to live in Beverly Hills. 60% of the houses in Beverly Hills are rented. Did you know that? Rent them, because the people have had them for a long time, and that's their storage of wealth. I prefer gold and silver. I can move it anywhere I want to in the world, but it's making it harder. As of this last month, the post office now will not insure gold transferring through the mail. This is all last month. It's on your box. So what is happening, then we have a showdown. Some of the dealers have special binders with insurance companies so they can still get it to you. And you know, I'm only 5 blocks away from the Mint, so I'm kind of interested in what the story is, because they're so far behind. Everybody's running their money to base metals because they can use that as a trading vehicle. That's all you're going to do, because the most valuable thing is going to be your food. So I urge you to do what? Get food stored up of some kind, dried or whatever. It's not wise to be in the major cities, frankly. I know a lot of you are stuck here because of your jobs. Well, your jobs are going to go away. That's all planned. You're going to be mobilized into work brigades. That's what they got scheduled. We've exported everything out of this country. All the major jobs are. When I was in Vegas with my architect friend, I did some building over there. All the architectural work is done in India. They bring the finished product back over and he stamps it because it's required by the building department that an American stamps it. So you have it, but it's just work. Why not? As a businessman, you want to go where you can get the cheapest labor, right? I flew with the vice president of Haynes Corporation down to Costa Rica, and they were shutting down all the plants that makes all of the, you know, the Haynes clothing that they have. They're moving all the plants to Haiti. Why would they do that? You know how much it costs to hire people in Haiti? $1 a day. 40% of the planet right now is existing on less than $2 a day. If I drop it down to $1, it's a third. And I realize a lot of people have always been living that way because they don't use money. But you do. This whole system is going to be changed right now. When Ron Paul is out here telling you that you know, we're going to audit the Federal Reserve, doesn't do us a bit of good, because who cares? They're creating the money anyway. My good friend is a state representative. How many people in here have seen the movie From Freedom to Fascism? Well, Phil Hart's a friend of mine, and he wrote the book, Is It Constitutional Income? According to the Constitution, wages are not taxable. And you volunteer to pay taxes on your wages. You volunteer, because it says so. Taxes are voluntarily. But you want to go try to fight them, then they set it up. But they don't have enough people to police everybody right now anyway. So they got to do something. They have to have a diversion, because things are going to come to a head real fast. They got to get World War III started. What I'm telling you, when you see Israel being hit by a bomb, whether it comes from Syria or it comes from Iran, they're going to be hit by one. How many in here are aware of the false flag, the 9/11 thing they were going to do on Seattle 2 months ago? There's a few of you. Well, what happened is that somebody stole a Russian nuclear bomb. It was a Chinese ship. And the guys headed for Seattle, and the Russians got wind of it and traced it down, and they sunk the ship, was it 30 miles offshore out of Seattle? Otherwise, we would have had, quote, a dirty bomb, exploded in Seattle, and the radiation would have gone on down and started the whole game. And Russia got wind because they don't want to start the war now, not the way it is. That isn't what's planned. And don't think that Putin doesn't know what's going on. When he threw Netanyahu out here yesterday, they came up, they threw him out. Why did Bush and the president of Canada get together? This is all last week. And why did they get together with Mexico? We know we can't do anything with Mexico. The Prime Minister of Canada said we won't go to a new currency because we're strong. If you got money and you have ability to do it, the Canadian dollar is much stronger than ours. Some people are moving that way. The Everbank in Florida, will allow you to put money in. They charge you a fee for doing it. How long will they be in business? I don't know. That's the reason why I prefer having the physical metals. And I have them in my pocket. I don't go anywhere without it, as they say. I used to go with, have my American Express and all the rest of it, but this has just happened to me. I went down to Ecuador and I had a new travel agent, and I booked some tickets on the travel agent. And anyway, I come back and I'm sitting there, I got $4,000 in airline charges against my card from Guatemala. Interesting. I got them to cancel everything, but what's happening now is everybody is screaming for money everywhere because this is a worldwide meltdown. In Japan, they're in trouble. Their currency is coming back up because they're a society, but they still have to import everything. It's an island, right? Russia, it's the old thing, a communist saying, is feign weakness while we grow strong. And that's what they've done. That country is so huge, it has tremendous resources. They export the natural gas to Europe, they have control of Europe. And basically that way. So if they don't toe to their line, they're going to go make sure. The Bank of International Settlements, however, is the banker's bank in Switzerland, which keeps track of all money, as you know. And they're a little upset about what's going on too, because the whole world's coming apart. So the plan is to go to their ultimate game again, and that's for world control. And the only way they can do that is to get the masses to start fighting each other. That's going to be happening here in the streets in Los Angeles. How many people do we have in this? We have 90,000, isn't that what they said, that are in the streets in Los Angeles homeless right now? 90,000. They did a TV thing on it. These are things that are happening in all the cities that I talk to across the street or go to. They have people living in tents where we are even, underneath the highways and everything else, because they've been evicted out of their houses. In Detroit, they'll give you a house. Did you know that? They'll give you a house so you pay taxes, so the city gives something because they had so many people walk away. Now, who's going to take care of this problem? We can't do it at this point. We can only take care of us, the ground crew, and the rest of us around here to give them information on what's occurring on the planet in a big way. And the big way is we're getting ready for World War III, frankly. The economy is going to collapse. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to look at that. I mean, you can sit down here with Ingrid and say, look at how the stock market has gone up in the last day. It only went up another 30 points yesterday. I don't care what it went up. All the Plunge Committee has to do is buy 100 shares of stock at 10 minutes before closing. At any price it wants to, that determines the price of the other 10 million shares, right? Isn't that right? That's what the stock market's done by trading. It's trading between what? We're trading now between computers. Did you know that? And the computers are measuring by microseconds just the indication. If somebody buys one share, and as they say a pattern, immediately the computers move in and do it. And the computers are fighting against each other. The government right now is trying to stop that. But who's controlling that? The big banks? They don't care, because they got control of all the money now. We went out and bailed out what? The stock firms and everything else with what? More debt? If Obama comes up with any kind of a program, we got $2 trillion more in debt. There's another couple of trillion, but we got $100 trillion in derivatives. And what are they not talking about? The derivatives is all the commercial real estate in the United States. I own my own bank outside the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve, I'm also a director of a bank of the Federal Reserve. We sit down and we look at all this stuff. If you have a loan, you lay it off and you package it and you sell it to somebody else. That you lay it off to another bank, or the market they call derivatives, derived off of. And so what has happened is anybody that had a shopping center, like I had one, well, I owned a city block in Beverly Hills. That loan was resold many times because it kept going on the thing. Whatever happened? All these things there's nothing behind anything today. If you really check it out, if somebody started foreclosing on your house, there are ways out if an attorney is. What you want is demand the note. Without a note, there's no debt. Did you know that? A lot of people are getting their houses because there's no debt. How can you prove liability? The problem is, will the insurance companies, the mortgage companies, release it unless you get the court to do that? Because just because they don't have a debt, they still have a recorded liability against the house, as you probably will. And some of the guys have to go through the foreclosure to clean out your own situation. But there's ways to get around a lot of it. You have to really research and take care of it. But what are you going to do with the house anyway? In the state of California, what's your taxes? Do you have that income? Most people